Good evening, I'm David Brown, and this is the Northern Sun Experience. Happy 2015 to everyone, but to start the new year, we're going to look back on a couple of the last Northern Sun experiences of 2014. And that, of course, starts with Minnesota State football. The Mavericks made the D2 National Championship with a perfect 13-0 record, and they were hoping to win their first football title in school history, taking on Colorado State Pueblo December 20th in Kansas City, Kansas. But unfortunately for the Mavs, things never quite clicked. No score in the second quarter. Alden Hafar's 27-yard field goal attempt is blocked, and the Thunderwolves take over. Ensuing possession, Greg O'Donnell nails his 27-yard field goal, and CSU Pueblo goes up 3-0. After a Maverick 3-and-out, Thunderwolves get in the end zone. Chris Bonner to Paul Browning. 18-yard strike makes it 10-0 at halftime. In the second half, CSU Pueblo would add another field goal to increase the lead to 13, and despite numerous chances, Minnesota State's offense could never get on track. Ricky Lloyd was sacked 3 times, the Mavericks had 9 punts, and for the first time since 1997, a team is shut out in the national championship. Colorado State Pueblo tops Minnesota State 13-0. Afterwards, players and coaches reflected on the game and how they'll bounce back next season.
It's tough. It's tough for these guys, tough for me. Very difficult.
That was one of the best defenses we've seen. Congrats to them. They played a well-fought game, and nothing but respect for them. We just couldn't get on a roll and get to do Maverick football. We couldn't get any drives sustained, and when you can't keep getting drives sustained, you have a trouble scoring points.
This is a tremendous experience. We didn't come into the game satisfied. We came in to compete. We came here to win. We wanted to win. We prepared to win. But unfortunately, today wasn't our day against CSU Pueblo, who played better than we did today. And that's all you get is you get 60 minutes, you get one chance to compete. And if you don't get it done, you have a result like you have today.
I'm not mad or disappointed at the season. I mean, we made it farther than this program's ever has. So it's something to be proud of, but at the same time, I think it's going to motivate us even more than last year's loss to St. Cloud, because we've grown so much closer. This whole experience is something that we obviously would want to do again, but this next time, hopefully we can bring it home. So, you know, from a personal standpoint, I don't think I had my best game. I think a lot of people can say the same, and if that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will. So you're going to see Minnesota State next year.
And once again, a congratulations to the Mavs on a great season. Well, the big stage was no stranger for another NSIC school in the latter part of 2014. Minnesota State Moorhead's wrestling team was invited to what's been dubbed the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden in New York, where they competed in the 3rd annual Grapple at the Garden.
You know, we were very excited to get invited to this. Worked it out through Frank Mosier and B.A. Schoen. 2 of our alumni out here on the East Coast got us involved in the tournament. It's been a great experience all the way around. You know, for our program, a Division II program, to make a trip like this from Moorhead, Minnesota out here, it's just great for our guys, and to get to see this level of competition behind us wrestling, and then also wrestling Long Island University Post. You know, it's just been overall a great trip. We're looking at taking another trip this year. We're going to be flying out to California in January and wrestling Simon Fraser College, and also wrestling in the California Collegiate Open. So we're taking big trips this year. Our administration's behind us, our alumni's behind us. The program's moving forward, and we're really excited for the rest of this season and for the future of Drayton Wrestling. We went to the Gracie Academy, which I thought was a great time, Mixed Martial Art Academy here in town. And a funny story about that was that we ran into Anthony Bourdain. So the guys got to meet him, and then, you know, just walking down Times Square, just seeing all the sights, you know, the city, the big buildings, the tree. You know, we just had a great time walking around.
Coming up next on the Northern Sun Experience, we'll break down the start of the conference basketball season with a former NSIC hoopster.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. With the start of a new year, we're going to introduce a new feature here on our show. Throughout the basketball season, we'll be joined by our Midco Sports Network analyst, Mr. Jordan Dalton. And Jordan, we need to run down your resume a little bit so people know exactly who we're talking about. Point guard at Augustana, 2006 to 2010, 118 total games, third in Vikings history, 413 assists, seventh in Vikings history. Capped it off with a great senior season, started all 31 games, third in the conference in assists, led the conference in steals your senior year, which apparently you did not know about until I told you. But the point is, you can dish, you can defend, you know a little something about NSIC hoops.
Back in the day, I thought I had a little game. Those days are long gone and long past me. But it's nice to hear some of those stats. Makes me feel good about myself.
Absolutely. Well, we'll start appropriately enough with Augustana, your former team. 6 wins in a row now, 3 in a row on the road in conference play, tied for the top of the conference lead. What's working so well for them right now?
Yeah, well, in the last 3 games, they've done a great job of shooting the ball from the outside. 3 straight games with 12 made threes or more. And so that really just opens up the floor. You know, you got Dan Jansen, who's a beast down low on the post. When he can get some inside-out presence, it really frees up not only him with single coverage, but also frees up the lane for penetration. They're a deep team. You know, they have 9 guys that play 14 minutes or more. 4 of those guys averaging, double digits. So it's really tough to key in on one guy because they are such a well-balanced team.
It's working well for them right now. Only 1 loss at conference play. Well, they're tied for the top of the conference league with Minnesota State Moorhead. The Dragons are 16-1 overall right now. Only loss was by 2 against Minnesota Duluth, so they've been pretty good this season. Can they keep this pace up?
I think so. They do a great job of scoring the basketball. They're one of the top scoring teams in the conference, averaging over 85 points a game. So that puts tremendous amount of pressure on the opponents to score the basketball as well. They had great senior leadership. Jordan Rear, he's averaging 16 points a game, shooting over 52% from the field. So it's a great steady hand. He's a guy who's been with the program for 5 years, including a redshirt year. So when you have that type of steady leadership at the point guard, that really just trickles down and as a calming influence on the rest of the team.
Dragons off to their best start in 4 years. Well, other than the Vikings and Dragons, who are tied for the top of the conference lead, what's a team right now that maybe people should keep their eye on, maybe a little under the radar?
I would never count Mankato out. They're a great team. They have a great inside-out presence with Zach Monahan at the point guard and Asim Arai down low. You got Zach Monahan coming off a MVP year in the NSIC, and he's still a phenomenal player. And Asim Arai, he's a load down low.
He's a beast.
Exactly. He's putting up 18, almost 19 points a game, 8.5 boards a game. So he's going to be tough to defend, and they're going to be a tough team when tournament time comes. I know they got a lot of new faces on the team this year after losing 3 starters from last year's team, but I would never count the Mavericks out because they're always loaded with talent.
Yeah, tough to think of Minnesota State as underrated or under the radar right now, but they're not at the top of the conference. They had a bad loss to Concordia St. Paul earlier this season, but as you said, they still got Zach Monahan, the preseason player of the year, and Asim Arai, the big guy down low.
Absolutely.
Well, what's the matchup you're going to be looking forward to this upcoming weekend? We're sort of right in the thick of conference play right now. What's a matchup you're looking forward to on the men's side?
Yeah, it kind of led into it. Mankato versus Augustana this weekend. I think that's going to be a great game. Mankato was able to beat Augie down in Mankato in the first conference game of the year. Just like we talked about, Monahan had a huge game. He had 29 points, 6 assists. And Asim Arai had 25 points and 14 rebounds. So that two-headed monster did their job in Mankato. So Augie's going to have to find a way to defend both of those guys this weekend.
You mentioned that defensively. Augie obviously can score. You mentioned their three-point shooting, but do they have the defensive presence to stop Mariah and Monahan?
That's what they're going to be counting on. I know Coach Billard is going to be talking about it all week, and their biggest thing is the offensive rebounds and limiting Mankato on the offensive boards as well. Traditionally, Augie's out-rebounded their opponents by almost 10 rebounds a game. But down in Mankato, they did get out-rebounded by 6 boards that game. So that kind of tells the story of that game. And Augie only shot 28% from three-point line. We just talked about it in the beginning of the segment. Obviously, that's a huge part of their offense. So they're going to need to shoot the ball well in order to get a win.
You know Coach Billiter pretty well, don't you?
He's a great guy, and all I can say is he'll always get the most amount of effort from his players.
All right, well, thanks, Jordan, for breaking down the men's side. When we come back, Mr. Dalton's going to break down the women's women's side of things, including why Northern State is at the top of the conference.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience, joined once again by former Augustana point guard Jordan Dalton. And Jordan, let's break down the women's side of things right now. Top team in the conference is Northern State, 13-1 overall, 7-1 in the conference, and they're the only team in the NSIC that's holding opponents to below 50 points per game. Defense obviously the key for their success now?
Absolutely. Defense and tempo. You saw last year, and especially in the conference tournament, that they play at a slow, methodical pace. What that means is every possession is gold. And like you said, they have great defense holding opponents to under 49 points a game and shooting less than 38% from the field. So it's very, very tough when teams have an inability to score, and it makes every possession just that much more important. So Northern makes you play at their pace. They're going to make you play slow and a lot slower than you're normally used to. And so what that does, sometimes that tightens teams up and teams have a tendency to press and maybe force some shots because they do have to play at such a slow and methodical pace. And that's how they win basketball games right now.
And from an offensive standpoint, they can go inside and outside. They got Rachel Krogman down low. They got Paige Witashik, who can shoot the three outside. Well, the team that's probably the complete opposite of Northern State right now is going back to your old school of Augustana. They lead the conference in offense, averaging nearly 81 points a game, but they're only 3-5 in conference play, 11th out of 16 NSIC teams overall. Can they flip the script defensively?
I think they're going to have to. Tough part with Aug is they have one senior in Shantiva Ashley who's been playing great, but that's the only experienced player they have. And so when you have inexperienced players coming in playing bigger roles than maybe some were expecting to, they're learning how to finish games. They're learning how to play hard consistently. And as you talked about, they can score the basketball, and that's phenomenal. But it's kind of the old adage, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. And so they have to make a commitment on the defensive end to getting stops on a more consistent basis. They can't let their offense dictate how they play on the defensive end. You know, when they're making a couple shots, confidence is rolling, they're feeling good about themselves. Now they want to play defense. But what happens when the ball doesn't go in the basket? And I think that's what Coach Krauth has to battle and has to get the most out of his young players is understanding that, hey, you have to play hard on the defensive end all the time.
Now, you didn't play, obviously, for Coach Krauth, but I'm sure he and Billiter have shared some philosophies.
Yeah, and absolutely. Coach Krauth he's a very laid-back coach, but in practice, he really gets after his ladies because he's obviously one of those guys who he comes in, he wins 20 games every year. You know, he's a phenomenal coach, but he gives his ladies a lot of leeway and a lot of freedom when they go out there and play basketball. And sometimes when you have inexperienced players, they're still learning how to deal with that type of freedom. And once again, offense isn't the problem. They're going to score the basketball, like I said, almost 80 points a game, but they have to get stops on a more consistent basis.
Well, speaking of consistency, a couple of the preseason favorites, Wayne State, Concordia St. Paul, each got off to a couple of rough starts, but they got back on track this weekend. Each team swept their conference games. But in such a tight race, can they afford to be this hit or miss, hot or cold, Drew? Do they need to maintain their momentum?
Not at all. Obviously, great teams have consistency. No matter what they're doing, they have consistency. And these are two teams who are very talented teams, two very different teams, though. Wayne State is a very, very talented offensive team, and I think they're just trying to learn their way and trying to gain some chemistry between their starting five especially. And as long as they continue to get better, coaches typically don't panic over a couple early losses, mainly because you just want to see your team continue to get better. And so they don't want to be playing their best basketball in January. They want to be playing their best basketball in March. And so early losses don't really affect coaches as much as long as teams learn from losses. A lot of times those losses can force teams to wake up and understand that they need to make a commitment to one another and the team concepts too.
And then with Concordia St. Paul, obviously they have Annika Whiting, the preseason player of the year last year. They know that she'll get the ball, so do they need to keep feeding her more, or do they need to develop more of an outside game?
Honestly, obviously you know what you're going to get with Whiting. You know, she's a great inside-out presence. She's tough. She's going to get you, 20 points, 8 rebounds a game. That's a given. What they need to commit to is their mantra of tough-nosed, gritty defense. Last year, they were able to make a solid run in the NSIC conference by playing that tough-nosed, solid defense. They were always bothering the ball. They were always in your face. They were creating chaos out there on the basketball court, and that's what they need to get back to. That's their team. That's their team's MO, and that's what they have to stick to. So everybody on that team has to make a commitment to being a tough-nosed, blue-collar team, and I think they'll right the ship.
Well, we asked you what men's matchup you were looking forward to last segment, so what women's matchup are you looking forward to this weekend?
Yep, really looking forward to Mankato and Wayne State. Obviously, Mankato was able to get a win earlier in the year. They won by 7, but Wayne State played well. They were up 6 with 10 minutes to go, so they had a shot to win the game. Once again, you'll hear me say the same word a lot, and that's consistency. They have to figure out a way to close basketball games. You can't play 20 minutes worth of good basketball and expect to win in the NSIC. It's just too tough of a conference. You're going against too many talented players. And so they're going to have to put 2 halves together this weekend to try to get a win.
This was fun, man.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Appreciate you having me, and look like we're going to have a lot of fun this year.
Absolutely. Jordan will be with us every week breaking down men's and women's conference play in the NSIC. Thanks again, Mr. Dalton. And when we come back on Midco Sports Network, Under the Northern Sun, where we spotlight Wayne State in Nebraska.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time for Under the Northern Sun, where we shine the spotlight on one of our member schools. Tonight, it's Wayne State College in Nebraska, where the unique community bond has only strengthened over time.
Founded in 1891 as Nebraska Normal College, Wayne State College earned a distinguished reputation as a teacher's college from its early days. Serving its rural community and region is still the primary mission of Wayne State today, but through the years, the school has broadened its vision to meet more comprehensive needs, offering a variety of majors and minors. With an enrollment of 3,513 students, Wayne State offers more than 80 majors and minors in 14 academic departments. Located in Wayne, Nebraska, Wayne State College serves a 46-county area in northeast Nebraska. Students from 38 states and 21 countries attend Wayne State, which offers a student-to-faculty ratio of 20-1. Many of the Wayne State clubs and organizations give back to the Wayne community, as evidenced when the town went through a devastating EF4 tornado in October 2013 that caused over $50 million in damage to the community and surrounding area. Hundreds of Wayne State students and staff helped in cleanup efforts and numerous fundraisers to help the community rebuild. Wayne State competes in NCAA Division II athletics, joining the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference in 1998. Over the years, Wayne State has hosted numerous NSIC and NCAA championship events, and this fall was no exception, as both NSIC and NCAA regional cross-country championships were held at Wayne State in November. It marked the 5th time since 2003 that Wayne State hosted an NCAA regional event in cross-country. Other premier events that Wayne State has hosted over the years include regional championships in softball and women's basketball, along with conference championship events in baseball and track and field. Wayne State student athletes also excel in the classroom. Last year, over 150 student athletes received Presidential Scholar Athlete Awards to go with nearly 90 NSIC All-Academic Award winners. Washington Monthly ranked Wayne State 19th among all of the colleges and universities in the nation in its Best Bang for the Buck category, which is based on the economic value students receive per dollar. Wayne State was named in the 2013 President's Higher Education Community Service Honor Roll. It's the 3rd time that Wayne State College has been recognized for service learning and civic engagement. For over a century, Wayne State has maintained itself as a dynamic institution able to adapt to changing climates by providing an affordable education in a student-centered atmosphere. The college offers unique opportunities, including international study programs in Greece, Asia, and Costa Rica, and a nationally recognized MBA degree. The Wayne State College community is proud of its focus on students' needs and goals. It's dedicated to helping them with success. An active alumni network with over 24,000 alumni across the country provides over $1 million in scholarship money every year for current students. As Wayne State College continues to grow, it continues to provide consistent service to the region while distinguishing itself among its peers.
When we come back, it's DB's Picks, my top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC. You're watching the Northern Sun Experience.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by CU Mortgage Direct LLC, Sanford Health, and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. Well, it's time for the best of the best, the top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC. At number 5, we head to St. Paul, where Jessica Newman beats the buzzer. The Minnesota Duluth senior nails this shot from just inside half court to end the first half. That gave the Bulldogs a 36-34 lead going into the locker room. And while they couldn't quite hold on against the Golden Bears from Concordia St. Paul, this golden shot from Newman checks in at number 5. For number 4, we go to Moorhead, where Megan Rorick does it at both ends. Hicks Winona's pocket on defense and goes coast to coast for the lay-in plus the foul on offense. The junior finished with 30 points, just 2 off of her career high, in a big 80-54 win over the Warriors. And like Katy Perry, you'll hear Megan roar at number 4. For number 3, it's another play at both ends of the floor. Minnesota Duluth's Brendan Pineda deflects the pass and gets in the open court for the one-handed flush. Check it out one more time, a heads-up play by Pineda. He gets 2 hands on the ball, sprints forward for 1 hand in the slam, while the play ends up at number 3. For number 2, we stay in St. Paul, where Concordia St. Paul's Venetia Harris takes advantage in a close contest. She steals the inbounds pass after the free throw, gets the layup and the foul. Take another look, Harris swoops right in after the free throw by Annika Whiting and gets 3 the hard way against St. Cloud State. And that made quite a difference in a 3-point victory for the Golden Bears over the Huskies. But for number 1, we go back to Minnesota State Moorhead, where the Dragons' Nigel Sangalo weaves his way between the Warriors for the reverse lay-in. Check it out at another angle. The junior from Madison, Wisconsin creates some space and gets it to drop. It was a big 106-81 victory for Minnesota State Moorhead as they stay atop the Northern Sun Conference with a 16-1 overall record. And while this basket only counted for 2 points, the creativity and the difficulty make this play stand out at number 1. Once again, a thank you to all NSIC member schools for contributing their time and video for this week's show. We'll be back next week for another edition of the Northern Sun Experience.